What is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Tavern Talk. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about WoW Classic Fresh and why I think it will be more successful in the long run than retail World of Warcraft. To begin, I really do think that retail WoW has run its course, and it's kind of sad to say that, but I have been playing WoW since 2005, and I have had no interest in retail WoW in like the past maybe 5 to 6 years. The lore, the storyline, the gameplay, the combat, the class balance, the class abilities, all that stuff has kind of gotten so far out of whack for me that like I don't enjoy it anymore. I don't find it fun. And one of the main reasons why I think WoW Classic is so popular and why so many people love it is because it is nostalgic. Yes, nostalgia is definitely part of that, but it's simpler. There's a reason why old school RuneScape is still so popular to this day, and you know the newer modern version of RuneScape is not as popular as old school RuneScape. People like a simpler system. It's easier to connect with the game. It's easier to connect with the community. That's a major point right there, is community. Classic WoW actually has a community. You feel like you're part of a community. When you're playing on a server and leveling up 1 through 60 or even 60 through 70, you know, you see people, you remember their names, you build a reputation on that server. People remember you for either a good person or a bad person, you know what I mean? That is such a huge part of an MMO, and retail WoW lacks that community. You know, it's not even a comparison. It's not even close. There is almost no community on retail WoW, and things like the LFG tool, all that stuff have actually destroyed the community aspect of the game. Granted, nice quality of life upgrades there, but you kind of sacrifice community there. You know, when you're playing classic WoW and you're all traveling to Dire Mall, everyone has to run there. The meeting stones don't even work. I do think that in a classic fresh or classic plus environment, meeting stones should work. I'm not saying stuff like that shouldn't work, but you know, there's just also that feeling of like each class has a purpose in classic WoW. In retail, every single class has the ability to AoE, some better than others, but every class has an AoE. Every class has self-healing. Every class has a stun. It's different, you know what I mean? In classic WoW, when you use your abilities, you know, you can actually tie your ability to an action or an outcome. Basically saying, you know, I use this ability and this happened. You can actually see the difference. You can see it happening. When you have a mage in your group in classic WoW, you're like, okay, this is great. We can AoE, even in Burning Crusade Classic. You know, in retail, every class AoEs. You have rogues AoEing in retail. It's like the class fantasy is just not really there, and that's a huge thing for me. And I think it is a big thing for a lot of people, and it's a reason why a lot of people prefer the classic style gameplay. Yes, it's not as hard as trying to push mythic raids in retail, but let's be real here. If we were trying to play MMOs to be competitive, we wouldn't be playing MMOs in the first place, because MMOs are competitive in their own way, but you know, if you really wanted a competitive environment, you should be playing League of Legends or Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, something like that. But MMOs are really supposed to be all about the journey and building your character. It's a role-playing game. You're supposed to be playing the role of the character that you created, right? So if you created a mage, you want to be the king of AoE. You want to do those things, and I feel like that's taken away in retail, and that's a huge reason why I think that WoW Classic Fresh or WoW Classic Plus will be ultimately more popular in the long run. If they do WoW Classic Plus and they do it right, I think that will surpass retail in the long run, maybe even in the near future, to be honest. I think that a WoW Classic Plus would suck in more of the old player base, gain some new players. It's just a simpler time, and it's so enjoyable. There's, you know, you don't get that feeling in retail of you know, creating a human or whatever and walking down to Goldshire and starting to quest in Elwyn Forest, or you know, making an orc or a troll and finally getting to the crossroads in the Barrens and doing all those quests and finding a group for Wailing Caverns. Like, that kind of stuff is just it's non-existent in retail. Retail is a much more fast-paced environment. There's like a million different ways to level up. Like no one is having the same experience, which also deletes the community as well. When a fresh classic server drops, right? Everyone creates their characters. Everyone's leveling through Elwyn Forest, through Westfall, Durotar, the Barrens, Stone Talon, Tanaris, and then you're getting groups for Zul'Farrak if you're ahead of the curve. Like it's so much fun, and that whole aspect of the game has gone in retail. You can literally hit level 15 in like an hour, maybe not even, and then just sit in Stormwind or sit in Orgrimmar and just spam the Dungeon Finder tool all the way up, you know, to 50 or even higher. But that's the part to me that's kind of like, it's not true to the roots of the game, and I think ultimately that is one of the things that has killed retail for the people who are veteran WoW players. I mean, retail has, you know, a lot in it that does entice new players, and I'm sure there are a lot of reasons why retail is great. But in my opinion, the reasons why retail is fun is not enough to overcome the complete destruction of like the original core design elements of an MMO, like community and class fantasy and all that kind of stuff really does tie into the game and make you feel more connected with your character. You feel more connected to the world. You feel more connected to the players on your realm. That is so important, and I think that is really a main reason why Classic WoW was so popular when they first launched it a couple years ago. So I think that if Blizzard does WoW Classic Plus and WoW Classic Fresh, if they do it right, this is going to save the World of Warcraft franchise, and I ultimately do think it's going to pass retail in the long run. There's no way that it can't. People love Classic WoW. I played Classic WoW as soon as they launched it, and to be honest with you, I've been playing Burning Crusade, and I'm loving that too, and I'll play Wrath Classic when they launch that if they do, which I'm sure they will. But there's something about vanilla Classic WoW that like I will never be bored of it, no matter how many times I level, no matter how many times I make a warrior or a rogue or a hunter or a mage. I'll still enjoy it every single time because there's something about creating those characters, jumping into the world with your friends and running those low-level dungeons and all leveling up and then hitting 60 and getting your pre-bist. Like, it's just an experience like no other, and it's so much fun. You know, World of Warcraft holds a special place in my heart, always will, and I hope that Blizzard does Classic Plus the right way because it could save this entire franchise, and ultimately I think it will be more successful than retail. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm really curious how other people feel about this. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. And subscribe to the channel. Turn on those post notifications so you don't miss next time I post a video. All right, guys. Till next time, take care.